Oh. Well, one thing I'm going to be doing here is as much of this testing crap as possible. I'll pop on in a little bit. You guys will probably be playing that other game, so talk to you in a bit. See ya. Hey guys, here testing this out. I got this critical damage bonus staff. Already tested to prove that it was higher damage with basically everything. Better than the increased elemental damage, better than the flat damage by a lot. Somebody wanted me to test with attack speed, and it's better than that as well. I was also requested to test with increased weapon damage and crit. I could not find it on the search at all. I'm not too sure how to look for it on here, because when I go and search for it, I would go enchant damage, and there was no weapon elemental damage. The closest I could find was increased damage flat, and it showed up with absolutely nothing else. Maybe increased elemental damage, but I already proved that isn't as good as critical damage. You could do increased critical damage bonus and get up to, I think it was 15%, which is pretty good, but it could also be lower. I mean, either way, not too big of a deal, but this increased damage one, there was nothing. Even if I don't have it on Exalted, I have it on Relative, it doesn't seem to do anything. But if somebody else knows, I would love to know. So that's that. The other point people want to see is without the gloves, because these gloves are absolutely insane, so we'll put back on the crit damage. We know even when we check out with my bossing rings, the holy crap scaling it gets, it scales even harder with the crit damage, and so that tells you the higher the base damage, the better it is. So when we take off these, hold on, leave it here with the critical damage first for a nice swap. These are my old gloves. As you can tell, attribute stacker, you want to use the attribute stacking gloves. I get like 350,000 DPS using these, but I still have a respectable 95k. And these are some pretty solid gloves. They work really well with a solid flat damage staff, but they're working for this as well. I'm actually surprised it's as high as it is, but let's see, with the really low base damage, is it even comparable? It's still a 3,500 DPS loss, but with the elemental damage, it's a huge loss, so that means flat damage is actually better than the elemental damage at these low points without attribute stacking. With attack speed, it's worse than the flat. So it seems if you have high base damage, elemental damage is better, but it doesn't even come close to crit damage. And the flat damage, if you don't have any huge bonuses, helps a lot. But for the most part, it's easiest just to scale for endgame with crit damage. It works even with the lowest stats. This scales it ridiculously high. I know that there's boss to boss tests that we can do against, but for the most part, if it's showing a 30% damage decrease or a 15% damage decrease, it's not going to change by that much. And yeah, I really enjoyed these gloves while I had them. They are no longer going to be worn, unfortunately, but they had a good life. I'm gonna quickly check a few things off here. I got a whole bunch of things to check out here. Perfect. I've already showed that. Lucky me. I don't need to worry about anything else. Somebody wanted to see the asceticism node. Yeah, that one, it might be worth anointing, but I already have 26% of my energy shield for stun threshold. It is the same as what was recommended. It's basically these 3 jewels. This one, and this one are almost equaling this one node here, but it's also saving me 4 passive points to get to it. I've done minimal testing with these, but I've also got word from people who have done more thorough testing, and it just doesn't feel the greatest. It's unfortunate, this node just isn't quite holding up. So you could go doubly hard in here, but that is a lot of points. That's 4, 5, 6 points just for that. And if you wanted the freeze threshold, it's another 4 points to get to here. It's just way too many passive points spent for something that really shouldn't be that much of an issue. Right now I am using the freeze thaw charm instead of the golden charm. Just for testing purposes, I am swapping them back and forth all the time right now. But the freeze charm does work to stop a freeze. However, it can be very inconsistent. I've noticed multiple times now where I got frozen by an enemy when I had charges, and then it still consumed the charges, but I was frozen anyways. It shouldn't work like that. It's just an early access bug, so hopefully that fixes it. For the rest of it, oh hey, look at that. Oh wait, what is this? I guess I gotta sign in. This is unfortunate. I got some crazy, okay. This seems like a very fake person, based on the fact that it seems AI or scam based. I'm sorry if you are not a scam, I'm just worried because of the fact that you're talking about AI and art stuff in Elden Ring. Oh wait, no, never mind. I misread you. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to say that. I misread you. I'm being rude. I'm trying to reply, but this thing is struggling. First time setting up a stream. I haven't done this before, but I'm trying my best. Just got to get everything set up here. This is weird. It's saying that I needed to set up a thing, but I already have it. Password's incorrect. There we go. Once I get signed in, I'll reply to you. Sorry, guy. I should be talking back a little bit more. But yeah, I do not stream all that often because I've just started. I will be starting pretty soon to be streaming a lot more. I have played Elden Ring. I enjoyed the hell out of it. However, I could not quite beat it at the time when I was playing. I was working a lot, and well, lucky for me, I don't need to be working right now because I am injured. There we go. Apologies for that. Some crazy art stuff you can show me. Yeah, that is not something I want really shared in here. It sounds like fun, but it could be a slippery slope really fast, really bad. There we go. I'm in the chat, I can type, I can reply. This is all good. Okay, so next on my list of things to do, I'm wanting to check with these full damage nodes. I have already gone through and looked at them with regards to putting the gloves on, and I've confirmed that these are actually a very valid option to use. However, it's just not as good as the crit for the most part. On my sorry, not my mobilytics, that was the old one. On my max roll, I will pull it up. I have on here multiple variants of the skill tree. This isn't my build. Why is my character not up there? That's not the one either. Here we go. This is the one. It should have been. What the heck is going on? Ah, painful. There. I'll unpin this and pin it again, see if that works. So, I got 3 variants on here. This one is potentially the best for mapping, where it comes down here and uses the first approach node. The main issue this build has is when hitting elemental ailment maps, the ones with higher resistances, it can be a pain in the butt when you can't freeze and explode things. You can still kill everything, it's just a matter of you don't get the big pops for massive clear. I noticed that this here, Killer Instinct, it actually does more damage if you have lower base, and the crit damage does the most damage with the high base damage. I was originally coming down here for Wildstorm, but because it's got 5 nodes that do almost nothing with all these increased lightning damage, only the more lightning damage actually matters, that it just wasn't worthwhile using. But it is super worthwhile anointing if you got it. There we go. I'll actually show you the damage differences. So this is with my bossing rings. It is a huge damage difference between the bossing rings versus the regular ones. It's like 150k almost. But when I swap from my crit damage setup here, and I come on with the elemental damage, so it went from 308,000 to 313. This is actually more damage than if you were to have just the Magic Find rings on. But when you get higher damage, remember these were 455,000 before, now they're 449, so it's less damage than the crit when you have super high base numbers. I guess I should probably show with the gloves off and the other ones on, so you can see with the less geared setup here. And on here I got 88,000 DPS with the elemental versus the crit here. 88,000 versus 95,000. The crit damage is just way higher. But the one that is surprisingly decent is this path right here, where you come down and get this big increased attack damage, the attack speed, and strength. So as you can see, it's comparable to the crit damage, and also comparable to the crit damage again with the big gloves. When you swap to the rarity, though, it's even more damage. So this is a very solid setup, and the only reason why I don't really see myself ever using this one, maybe getting the nodes for this, and I plan on keeping the crit damage, is because I've already got enough attack speed, but this attack speed is scaling pretty hard for it. The 10 strength is huge. It's an attribute stacker, and every point of attribute gives it a ridiculous amount of stats. The reason why I don't plan on using it is because simply my ice explosions are based on if I can get enough cold damage onto an enemy, and so this DPS is counting in the attack speed. And 7.58 attacks per second versus 7.41 is going to give it a big DPS difference. But I do not need that extra bit of damage. What I need, or the bit of attack speed, what I need is the actual damage. That way it helps me pop my ice explosions easier. So on sheet it might be saying one thing, but overall I believe this to be the right path to take. By the way, I take these 2 crit chance nodes to get me back to 50% crit chance. I keep it this way because I don't want to run the risk of essentially treating every map like an ailment reduced map. I want the big damage to freeze, which will cause the explosions and which will keep me safe, because honestly, a big part of my defensives is the fact that nothing can get near me. When it's a boss, it's no issue. You can dodge around, you can avoid things, and you can burst it down so fast that it's no problem. Like, the only thing you ever have to really avoid is Pinnacle bosses, and even then it's rare. And so I go this method in an effort to minimize the difficulty in basically all situations. Like, it's pretty straightforward and easy. I have a really good time with it. I'll put these back here. So yeah, I got a few other things to test out here, but like, I know a lot of people are wanting to see these stabs in action, but honestly there isn't really a point. The damage decrease is lower at every level for the crit damage, and the only other interaction that I unfortunately can't show, I just straight up can't find it, I can't find the increased weapon elemental damage with crit damage. I wish I could. If somebody has it, I'd love to see it. Yeah, it's just not something I have access to right now, I'm sorry. Alright. It's one more thing off the list. Again though, if you can, anoint Wildstorm. Spaghettification is also worth anointing. However, I'm very slowly working towards getting a resonance jewel, the one that allows you to anoint, or not anoint, allot any notables within the range of resonance. I don't know if I'll ever get it. It's crazy expensive and super hard to find. I scrolled through that entire thing and found, I don't know, maybe one or two, and the cheapest one was like 60 divines. It wasn't even worth looking for. It was a horrible pain in the neck. But if you can eventually get spaghettification, it's super worth it. It stacks your damage almost as hard as this guy, Polymathy, which you come all the way down here just to get it. Except for it also gives you, wherever it is, right here, movement speed, which is beautiful. You don't care about the reduced chaos resistance. You don't also care about the increased chaos damage, but I mean, you probably would if you made an Aculite, a Chayula attribute stacker, which would be wonderful. But I am Invoker. I like Invoker because you get the critical hits, ignore resistances. And I also like all the options you get for your attribute points here. I am a big fan of Protect Me from Harm, but unfortunately I am a pure evasion base now. If I could have found a split base, I would probably still be using Protect Me from Harm, getting a big bit of damage reduction, because it gives you huge damage reduction. Even with a split base and not pumping into these and not getting like Wind Dancer and Ghost Dance, you would probably still be at like 40 or 50% damage reduction. And honestly, with how good all of these skills are, the Double Heralds, the Grim Feast, the Tempest Bell, Elemental Invocation being fantastic, Combat Frenzy for charges, like granted you don't need this, but if you're going to use other tech, you're going to save one skill point, and you're still going to need like you're going to need the dodging skill. Lingering Illusion is what it's called. And you're also going to need to take off a skill gem from your main ability. Where is it lingering? Maybe it's my bossing skill? Yeah, there we go. You're also going to need to take off a gem from your main skill here, Minion Pact, in order to make this work. It works really well, but say you take off Blink, you could also take off Combat Frenzy, take off range here. Now every time you dodge roll, you get... Why is... Oh, did I not? No, it's there. Oh, I see. I need the actual... Yeah. I need the not being destroyed thing from the minion there. So yeah, you need Blink so that when you dash, you attack, and then you immediately consume the illusion. It's a little bit clunky, but it also works really well. You have to blink and attack right away, and as you see, it's giving me the charges. It's endurance charges right now because I have resonance on. But yeah, this does a really good job of working, because if you do that, you can charge your charges to max, hit your power charge, or hit your charge staff. Let's just do this. Is it still trying to give me... There we go. I think it was still trying to give me endurance charges. There we go, so you could get your power charges, and then you could also be like a charge using build. So like right now, if I had Flicker Strike, I could smash it out. You could charge this up prepping for bosses, but as you can see, it works really well. Keeps your staff charge. It's way more consistent than a lot of things, but it's a little bit clunky, and I'm not the biggest fan. Honestly, it's great tech. If you want to use it, I highly recommend it. Super, super good. It's just not my thing. I have mobility on Blink. I don't think it actually does anything. I just don't know what else to put it in, and it says it works. So yay that if it does. But yeah, get rid of this. The 40% more damage seems like it'd be a great thing if you could slap it on Bell. Might be better than Rage Forge. You dodge, you slap the Bell down, you hit it. But you'd have to be so fast with how the blink dies in a second. You wouldn't be able to dash. Like if you dash and then had to go here and then slap the Bell down because you dodged too far away, like it just wouldn't work. It's a little bit awkward, but for the most part it's fine. Put right there, resonance back on. So yeah, a couple of things I've tested out. Great tech, just not for me. Right now I've put this together in a way that I'm leaving on the Herald of Thunder and Ice because there's the always needed mapping things. They make everything super clear and easy, fun to use. Grim Feast keeps you tanky and defensive all the way through, keeps you sustaining in a fight with addition to Shock Siphon. But if you're wanting to do gem swaps for a boss, Charge Infusion and Berserk are absolutely excellent. These are nearly must-haves. I would not fault you if you actually wanted to go through that. I'm just trying to make this as fast and fun as possible, because honestly it's a little bit difficult to keep going through the click 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 for 6 plus 5, 11 clicks every time just for there, and also bringing them back to your inventory. It's a little unfortunate. So instead, all I do for bossing, I got my bossing rings for sure, but that's the only gem swap I do. Then when the boss is done, put it back, and you go. And for the most part, the time for the boss to actually show up is so long that you have time to put the rings on. I end up usually wasting a lot of time clearing out the map because I got OCD, and when I'm in a map, I absolutely detest leaving the Fog of War unfound, so I'll do stuff like that. But I guarantee 99% of people won't have that issue. Especially when it's a boss fight that you're entering and leaving right away. But for the most part, don't need to worry about that. Just need to worry about blasting. If it's in a shitty map that you don't really care about, just keep moving, keep blasting. I'm going to try and find a citadel now. One thing I'm wanting to try here is I gotta find myself an element resistant map. I must have some. Let's see here. 92% increased element threshold. It's blue, so it's kind of shitty. 92% ailment threshold with the yellow map, much better. So this one here is going to be a really shitty map to do. They do a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra crit chance, and no real positives. Perfect, that's what I'm looking for. So,
Go on.
I wanted to see how well first approach would work in this kind of situation. Because it gives you increased damage with hits, crit chance, a whole lot of crit damage. Like, this seems like the perfect thing to bust through that increased element resistance. I don't know if it's going to work perfectly, but you know what? We're going to try it because it is a ton more increased crit damage with 40% crit damage. It's better than the 75-90 that 80% is when you also get 20% increased damage, 50% crit chance, and 50% increased damage. Honestly, you could probably even take these off and put the damage on. That's actually what I'm gonna do. That's a much better idea. Take off those three, put on these three. Much, much, much higher damage. What's my lowest one? Strength. There we go. Let's test this out now, because this could be potentially huge. Could also mean absolutely nothing. A map that's worth doing. There we go. Delirium, increased level, boss. If it can succeed on this map, it can succeed on pretty much any map. Delirium Mirror also gives things pretty high elemental resistance. So let's check this out. good. It's looking really good. Oh yeah. This is the way. Let's just hope this wasn't a glute. Come on, spawn, guys. I think this is the way. Yeah. There's the deli mirror. You proc that. Where are you? Boss, deli boss. Oh, that was easy. For the most part, things are blasting hot. I'm pretty happy with that. It's still a 92% increase element map, so it's not everything is popping, but most of it is. I'm surprised that more things are popping on for the most part. Even the deli mobs can pop quite often. Not all the time, but pretty often. Being delirious, I guess, is giving them so much resistance. If anybody knows how delirium works, like, very well, I'd love to know, because I don't know the ins and outs of delirium. I just know I like the mechanic, I like the extra mobs, I like just doing it. But I have no idea what 36% delirious means. I've heard it's like 36% less damage. But I was also like 80% delirious in Path of Exile 1, so it doesn't really make sense to just be straight less damage, because then I'd be doing absolutely nothing. But I was still able to clear those maps.
Empower!
These little mirror areas are kind of annoying. They always seem to pop enemies that are invulnerable for like 2 full seconds. All they do is push you, they don't really damage you. Not a fan of that. I wish they would pop out and attack you faster, but also be further away when they pop out and be vulnerable immediately. Not getting as lucky with the procs right now. Seems the delirium mirror is definitely a step too far, but as you can see, I'm still clearing the map pretty well, pretty easily. Ooh, walking out of the fog. A lot of people were asking if they could be using other skills. There we go. Frozen, even though I had Thawing Charm with 49 charges, unfortunate. With how fast I'm killing, 49 charges, already back up to 64. I would have expected it to be filled fast enough to go from pack to pack and do full charms. Or full charges on the charms. But yeah, I've had that fail a few times unexpectedly. I'm not too sure how I feel about it, as pretty much the only way to avoid freezes. And Time of Need really doesn't do the job. I tested it out and it's not it. It goes on a cooldown when you use fast forward every 7.2 seconds it was for me. Just didn't do it for me. It was not consistent enough by a lot. I was standing in a lot of on-death stuff there. I'm surprised I didn't die. I'm surprised I didn't even pop my overleech. One more rare, all the way at the other end of the map. Yay me. Going on an adventure.
Not yet.
Unfortunately, the only viewer here is still the guy who wants to show me some crazy art stuff.
Unleashed! I'm unable.
There we go, I'm out of the fog again. About to fight the sexiest boss in the entire game. Oh, I got 7 splinters, that's a big deal. I usually get much, much less. So, let's just drop this. Oh, this button, my bad. Trying new tech, confusing myself. Forgot I have to hit elemental implication. There we go. Good tier 15 maps. So yeah, every time you clear tier 15 map, it just explodes with tier 15 maps again. It is the way I sustain maps. I get like 4 to 6 tier 16 maps per boss map. I usually get between 2 to 5 tier 15 maps, and it's why I'm a little bit overcapped on tier 15 maps right now. I do not know what to do with them all, but you know what? We're gonna fast forward it so that we don't even need to worry about it. Oh, I wasn't using the thawing charm, that's my bad. No wonder why I got frozen. Put that back on. And so yeah, got another quant map to hit. Be more fun than a ailment reduced map. So
Go on.
that was a decent enough test. It definitely did work a lot better. I noticed a huge increase of how many pops I would get until I hit the mirror, and then it seemed to be a lot less consistent. But it was a fairly large damage increase. I'm happy with that. 50% crit chance. I'll put all this together in a more cohesive video later on. I'm just wanting to gather a lot of information for everybody so that I can do kind of like a one place fits all for every single question I've been getting over the past few days, because there have been a lot of them. I appreciate it all. It's pretty fun. I feel like a pretty girl. Everybody wants to talk to me. Jamie. So yeah, this is a normal map. There's another little weird interaction that happens. Resistances. Especially with electrocute when you're overload here. So having electrocute is a wonderful defensive layer. It's super good for everything, and it even supercharges your Tempest spell by giving it another ailment. But it does have a downside having electrocute on your bar. So not always, but sometimes, like obviously not always, you can get mobs to be electrocuted, and because they're electrocuted, it means they can't be frozen. And if you get a unlucky series of electrocute chains, Herald of Ice isn't really doing anything because Herald of Thunder can't freeze anything. I'm trying to find a mob to show you that, but they just keep on exploding. And it only ever happens when you're killing with the shockwave from Charge Staff. But I guess I'm just lucky right now. Yeah, when you're trying to show a problem, everything works perfectly, right? No, I usually don't even touch these strong boxes. I do not like them. They are too slow. A lot of BS mods on them. But it was yellow, so I had to go. I got basically nothing. Gotcha. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. Electrocute something.
I cannot.
Well, everything this map just died to it, so that's unexpected. I usually get a few mobs in a map where it actually electrocutes, sits there, and won't. Oh, that's terrible. Won't get stunned, or won't get frozen. Not that one. Stay hydrated, friends.
Yes.
And nope.
Of course.
Apparently, oh, it's corrupted even. That's cool. It's a chaos, and this will be a 0% increase, yeah. But it's fun. I get the corrupted one in my thing. There we go.
Hello.
Disenchant this one. So I know it's not good, but the unique tab is one of my favorite ones. It's just satisfying. It's kind of like collecting Pokemon. You want to catch them all. And the fact that it tells you what percentage you have, like I have 66% of quarterstaffs. Like if I could get the last two, that'd be fun. Same thing with scepters. I doubt I will. I got all 5 foci, but I guess crossbows are a little bit underloved right now. Same thing with wands, but as it stands, I'm pretty happy with it. Only 20% of amulets. I even got the breach ones in here, all 3 of them. Surprising. Okay, so test that. Full life mode versus element resistance. I'm pretty happy with that one. It showed good stuff, but it definitely wasn't the... Actually, you know what? That one's worthy of a secondary test. One without delirium. Because delirium kind of screwed it. Come here.
Try something different.
Ailment resistance. This one here. 95 increased ailment thresholds. And they also have 50% elemental resistances. So this is going to be a serious stress test for it. Without delirium. I'm not going to do that map, even though I want to. Let's put it on this one with the breach. Probably the worst one to put. Actually, no, that's probably the worst one to put it on because I could be doing the test and actually literally just die. Let's put it on this boss one. It makes the most sense. One that it tests the monster adequately. And then I can do the boss at the end. Get even more maps to not use. If anybody needs maps, I got a surplus. Just send me feet pics. Don't send me feet pics.
Relentless assault!
It's looking about, I mean, it's looking kind of promising, but it looks like you gotta get pretty close for it to actually freeze because the charge staff wanting to electrocute. But if you can get the shocks off, it seems like it is completely okay with getting the creases off of the explosions. Acceleration shrine. These guys have way too long of vulnerability windows. By the way, if you didn't know that, with the charge staff, you can actually attack through walls and through barriers. It's pretty great. never had it this way, but it makes more sense for my fingers. So hit avatar, then hit infusion. Avatar, infusion, avatar, infusion. Okay. Invocation, not elemental infusion.
I cannot.
Come on, rares. Wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Because. I don't know the words.
I'm unable.
These maps truly are the worst. Corridors, walls, low density, hidden rares. Hold on. I've done the map. No, I'm not. I thought maybe I just missed the message, but no, I did not. Probably the rares, all three in one room, that's nice. Oh, that was lucky. Well, it's nothing if not consistent. When I turn the camera on, I get good drops. When I did about an hour of testing before this, I got nothing. Is this my Mortimer? That's Mortimer. Okay. I still don't have the map done. More than 50 monsters remaining, but it looks like a lot less. Killed the boss.
Fury unleashed.
There it is. Okay.
I'm unable.
This is too bright. Why is it so bright? Do I have brightness? Yeah. That is a lot more legible. Perfect. 100.
Speak.
Hey, that's not the worst. See if it sells for 15. Yeah, if you're wondering how to price check items, get something else to do it for you, because for the most part, it's random. It's seemingly random. It's either worth nothing or it's worth the moon. Do I have maps in this map? Or in this folder? Yes, I do. I gotta get rid of these one of these days. 5 range. 5 range, 5 range. 5. I'm gonna have to make that with magic. That now. 6. just needed space, so I don't even care what these say on it. If they're potentially good with big magic find, it does not matter. They just need to go. 10 and 10, that was lucky. The trick is, do not look at them. If you look at them, you might second guess yourself. Do not second guess yourself, just let Jesus take the wheel. And because I'm just being a little bit wanting to bring it down even more. A couple of those. Oh, I got another 6 here. Missed one. There we go. Bring it down even more. They're all blue. Oh, one's delirium. In the map though. Oh, I like that. I'll keep it. Destroy. 4% for 3 additional breaches could be nice. They probably won't hit on any of them, but this one. Rare monsters. There we go. 5% pack size is barely noticeable. But, wow, I got 10, 10, 10 on all my breach maps. This one here's only 6. 6, 6.
What is it?
Cleaning this up a bit because it's a disaster in here. There we go. Now I can drop maps. Please, please, map tab folder, please. Desperate. What do we need to do, GGG? I'll dance. I'll dance on camera for you. I got no shame. Okay. Well, next thing to check is some gen alternatives with the weaknesses and strengths. So obviously we got the nice little bossing set up here. Hand of Chayula is an option, Mana Remnant's an option. If using Hands of Chayula, I use Temp Chains and Sniper's Mark as a default. Sniper's Mark for the critical damage bonus, but more for the Frenzy charge that turns into a power charge. Very good option instead of that. Mark. Voltaic Mark does a ton of damage in an area. It is actually surprisingly high. It really helps clear maps if you're gonna jump from pack to pack to pack. It nukes things. Like, you can check out the Nova. It's pretty high base lightning damage and it's an attack, so it dales off your stuff, and it's 606%. So if you're wanting to go Hand of Chayula smack, same thing even with Freezing
Mark makes an enemy more
really
vulnerable
big
to being
damage,
frozen.
big crit
If
chance,
the enemy
big
dies,
more freezing.
They will explode.
Like, same thing Voltaic Mark. We'll just look at
Voltaic
it.
Mark will make an enemy more vulnerable to being shocked.
Yeah, show the explosion.
When the marked target dies, a lightning nova erupts from
There
their
you go,
core.
see? It's huge damage when you scale it higher. Like,
Vol-
if I were to pop it on, it would be almost screen wide. There's an issue though, is that Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice is just a lot nicer and easier to use, because that way I can just go with Tempest Flurry, smack, 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 make Cold Infusion on Herald of Thunder, and you don't need to worry about anything else. And it can do multiple screens wide, so this is just so good. It's so good, but that's not taking away that Freezing Mark and Voltaic Mark are absolutely fantastic, especially when you put it on Hand of Chayula, so you just dash in and boom. It's not really any different than using Shattering Palm, except for it does more damage than Shattering Palm. It just, Shattering Palm puts the ice shards on everybody around it, which then they all shatter and do a ton of damage, but they don't do the debuff. Whereas the Mark, it only applies on the one, so if you pop one enemy with a Shattering Palm and then they all explode, all those other shards are going to explode, which does like a concentrated effect of damage, which is absolutely ridiculously insanely strong. It's the bee's knees. This is more for taking down one single target, and it works very well. But if you aren't going to be using Shattering Palm, or if you need Shattering Palm for groups, it's better than Freezing Mark or Voltaic Mark, just for the sake of it's going to cascade the exploding shards. And if you don't need it, then Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice is better, because they continuously cascade blasting through screens. They do the same thing that Shattering Palm does, but without having to take up a slot on your bar. You just keep slamming, keep attacking, keep going nuts. Other good alternatives. Ones that are very good, obviously, so Ice Strike. It's basically one-for-one comparable to Tempest Flurry. I was using Ice Strike for a very long time. I have a 6th link of it. I like it a lot. It's the only reason why I'm not using it is because when I took off the evasion base, instead of avoiding like 85% of hits, I'm getting hit by almost everything. So the dash in usually kills the enemies on the first go, but, well, I'll show you. Sometimes it doesn't. So, Tempest Flurry here. There's also Storm Wave. If I'm using Storm Wave, I'm using Upheaval. I don't need Cast on Shock anymore. I've already been over that. Yeah, this should be good. So Ice Strike. Oh, this makes me sad. I wish I could highlight them all and just put them back in. As you see, it's actually more damage, and it stays more damage with my bossing rings as well. So this would seem like the better choice, but it does have a very strong downside, and it's that it teleports you to the enemy. So when you're doing things like dropping the ball, you can't quite position yourself between the bell and the enemy as well to hit both. And also, you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble because you can't really kite or do anything. That's why I think Tempest Flurry is very nice. It allows you the option of the best of both worlds between Ice Strike and Storm Wave. I am in the same old map. So let's go with this guy. Hidden Grotto. That's a nice rarity map too. Perfect. You'll see that Ice Strike holds up pretty dang well. Oh, I should probably put it on my bar though. First enemy. There you are. So like, clearly doing more than enough damage, and you know what? It also jumps from pack to pack, which is highly satisfying. So it's possibly a little faster than Lightning Strike, but it's less safe as well. Potentially more damage, potentially faster. If you have enough damage so you don't need to worry about anything, that's great. But if you have a mob that's like periodic invulnerability, it can make you cry. Not even because it's that big of a threat, but just because it's also got something like cold damage along with it. Oh, it's so annoying. Come on, let me activate you. Who's left? Oh. Is that it? This floating blob of blood? It? This is weird. It's out the door.
I'm unable.
That does not look like it's part of the ritual, but I guess this ritual's glitched. Let's see. That's not it. It must be glitched. Yeah, it's glitched. Okay. That's unfortunate, because I went a long distance around it and all dragons killed everything. I think that's only like my third or fourth ritual since buying those invitations to the king. And I still, yeah, looking forward to doing them, but I don't think I'm getting many ritual drops from them. I haven't seen a single omen or invitation, and obviously I bought the things to get me specifically those drops. I don't know that helmet. See, this one lets me use it. See if I can go back to that other ritual now that I've started it. Come on. Work, 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 work. Not here, obviously. Must have been further down. Yeah, it doesn't want me to use it. That's very weird. What do you think the odds are I miss an elite at the very start of the map? 100%? Yeah, me too. I appreciate that they changed that you can see the elites when there's 200 mobs left instead of 50. But considering 200 mobs is still like 2 packs, it's not enough. I want more. What is that? Oh yeah, it's the shocking one. Smiling Scepter. I don't understand the concept idea of a chess piece that gives you a better way to get power charges, but then removes them as soon as it's full. You charge them basically instantly, and then punishes you for having them full. I mean, if you charge them really slow, maybe? But it's not making it slow. Not bad with the Chaos Jewel, but nothing in there's worth it. Let's see. Who is this? Fully recover your flash charges? No way. That's amazing. appreciate a not second miss. Oh, that messed me up. Ghost of Tsushima style thing, where even if it's not within the certain range, you just touch a button and it gives a little hint. Not something like, hey look, go that direction with a giant red arrow, but maybe like Dark Souls, little trails of gems on the ground. That would be pretty fun. The floor sparklies. Okay. I completed the map? When? I miss it all the time. Kind of wish I saw it, but oh well. Alrighty, so that's Ice Strike map. As you can see, it still did pretty dang good. It gets you right in the thick of it though, so it can be scary pretty fast.
Of course.
Do I have yeah, I never saw that one before. Interesting. I like to have a copy of every unique, obviously, so kind of fun to see that I got a new one there. A low one too that you'd think would have dropped a bunch. Okay, so now Stormwave. Ooh, that one's 6 as well. I didn't know. I don't put concentrated effect on Stormwave because it makes it feel absolutely terrible. But I keep all the rest on. It looks like the damage is way less because it doesn't really know how to read upheaval. It's actually pretty decent. Because, well, when you do the wave, it's 3 of them, and you can hit all 3 at the same time. It's pretty great. What? Rubber banding. Anyways, new map, new showcase, more gold. Really hope my voice isn't reverberating. I had that problem at the start of the stream. We're chill here right now, but in case people came in, I wouldn't want to make it a really unfortunate situation. So as you can see, Stormwave, absolutely godly for map clear, but it's got one massive downside that I really do not like. See how Tempest Spell isn't gaining any charges? Because it's not a strike skill. If it gained charges, I'd be happy with it, but it doesn't. So, it's no bueno for me, a guy who doesn't want to swap skills anymore. Like, I never wanted to swap my main ability, I only wanted to swap the subsidiary things, like the Heralds and the Grim Feast, that sort of thing. Because those, it's not a button you're clicking. So when I'm playing the game, I want, when I press left click, it feel like I'm pressing left click the same every time. I don't want it to change. So that's the reason why I was super hesitant towards changing towards Tempest Flurry at the start. But then I tried doing Stormwave, and I was like, oh my, I'm so much more survivable on Stormwave versus Ice Strike. Didn't want to do Tempest Flurry because it cost too much mana, but then I forgot that I solved the mana issues. And yeah, once I figured that out, Tempest Flurry all the way, just because, hey, it's safe. It's so safe, which makes it consistent, and it's extremely strong. I'm pretty sure the tooltip DPS is actually showing less than what it's actually doing because of the extra strikes and how it's hitting the bell. Oh god. I'm certain it's doing more than the Ice Strike, but there's no way for me to confirm it really without like a testing dummy that would tell me how much damage everything's taking. But alas, we'll just have to go off of what Eyeball Estimate says, and Eyeball Estimate is saying Tempest Flurry is stronger. Basically a 1-for-1 swap, except for I put upheaval in for the sake of just getting bigger. You don't really need it with the explosions, but it's nice to hit more things to get more potential procs off. It also has some really big one-hit damage, more so than Tempest Flurry or Ice Strike. And because of that, it helps freeze on that one big hit a lot easier than it does for the little ones. Especially when you have the issue of accidentally electrocuting the enemy before you freeze it to cause the explosions. Again, don't take off the electrocute from the bar because it supercharges the bell, and it's a nice defensive layer for when you can't get the freezes off.
The dreamer provides.
Doop, doop, doop.
I cannot.
Breach Precursor Tablet, very, very nice. Ooh, another Breach too. Good trick. Lunar Amulet is one of the good ones. Okay. Silly map, you think you're done. 3 breaches. Just start with 4 breaches. Oh, did I hit 10 breaches? How did I not see any before into this corner? Okay. They're all dead now. I'd pop this breach. Into it. It's actually really satisfying watching it just continue cascading out after it closes. Oh, I didn't freeze. Nice. Discharge? No, I just quitted it. That or I charge it up immediately. Remember, this is all with 163% rarity. So it's gonna feel good. And I do not know if rarity counts on picking up like chests and the like, because it seems like with it showing only on the weapon scale that rarity is only on the kill. But that is just an estimate or assumption, not 100%. I would be surprised if it's on. Oh, the wall's all the way that way. Apparently not being able to walk through this area, even though it looks totally traversable. I don't know, I guess it's impossible. Made it so I missed a hand, but oh well, it's just like 1 or 2 splinters. God, I wish I could I wish I could drop entire breach stones in one go. That would be so satisfying. Man, I'd love that.
On my side.
Even if it's like a 1 in 1,000 thing, for every 1,000 breach splinters you get 1 full-on breach stone drop. It'd be it'd be like hitting the mini lottery, because I very much so enjoy running that map. That's the whole reason why I do all these breaches. I like the big AoE, I like the big poop, and then I like doing the bosses after.
I must maintain a fine balance.
Here's your fine balance. Ooh, 3 times worse. I may have hit like the 5% for 3x. 5% quantity. No, I must have just hit the probably on this guy here. Where are you, breach? I must have just hit the 5% chance to gain 3 additional breaches, so 4. And I think that was all 4. But hey, if I get crazy lucky, and there's a bunch more breaches, I'll pop them. That'll be a crazy showcase for this ability. I'd have to the video to get rid of all this looting, but oh well.
Not yet.
you going on and off so much? Oh, looks like another breach hand. I think we hit 10. We hit 10. That's it, boys and girls. We hit 10. Heck yeah. I'm gonna have to use all them portals. Yeah, the bad habit I picked up from having too strong a build is looting when you shouldn't, because there is no reason why. By the way, you can hit way over big walls like that with charged staff to do the explosions. It's a pretty good tech. You can do that with anything. You don't need Storm Wave. You can do that with Tempest Flurry. Honestly, charged staff is probably one of the best skills in the game just because of that alone. Kind of like a pseudo mobility for clearing. Gets rid of all these horrible downsides of having incredibly blocked off maps. I guess I don't really have anything I want to drop.
Speak.
Guess we're still in this map now, aren't we? Overthinking, ready to hop on to the next one, but we got a lot of looting to do. A lot of looting, a lot of breaching.
Fate is on my side.
I'm really impressed with how they were able to use the same engine to make such a very aesthetically pleasing game that felt amazing. Like, every time I go in and I smack something, it feels like I'm hitting him with a really heavy stick. Like, it's weighty, and it's good, and it's snappy. It is not exactly what Path of Exile 1 feels like, and so I don't know how they're able to make that kind of a leap, but good on them. I mean, obviously there's a lot of questionable choices, like that Jin Baraya, who really wants to do Sanctum if not for the rewards, and even then, there's a lot of things that are unfun about, well, Trial of Sanctus. And the ironic part is, when I made this character, and, well, not necessarily this one, but when I wanted to make my first character, I wanted to do a dedicated Sanctum farmer, because I had not done much of that content in Path of Exile 1. I really wanted to do a Hex Blast character, but there's no mines associated with it. It honestly just didn't look as, I don't know, gripping as in Path of Exile 1 with those giant purple explosions. So, yeah, that's the only one that I'm kind of disappointed on, but like, that, oh man. The table gets higher when I watch those explosions go off, and just the big AoE, it's very satisfying, and especially knowing from where this came from, because, oof, leveling with the monk was rough. I know there's some tech to make it better now, but I didn't know it at the time, and the drops were so bad at that point that nobody was getting it. Let's see here. Mana regen, mana, cast speed, spell damage. Probably not much. Yeah, I didn't think so. So as you can see, potentially Frost Strike is faster than... Oh, that's the wrong one. Potentially Frost Strike is faster than Tempest Flurry because it jumps around. Storm Wave is definitely faster than Tempest Flurry and Frost Strike both, and safer than both, because I keep grabbing this one, because of the added range and the fact that nothing's gonna really mess with you. Lightning Infusion, Martial Tempo, Primal. What was the one I'm missing here? Ah, yes. Yes, Magnified Effect. No, not Magnified Effect. Concentrated. There we go. Did I grab the right one? Yes, I did. Seems low. Why does it seem low? Oh, right. Because I'm so rocking this. Oopsie.
Go on.
As you can see though, that node works pretty well. I just prefer this one. Works better for bossing, and I don't want to do a passive tree swap every time I go bossing. This did work surprisingly well for the element resistant maps, but not well enough for me to say it is a must use. I did not pick up much in this map afterwards, huh? 79. Alrighty. So yeah, I'll quickly just kind of glance over strengths and weaknesses. So again, Ice Strike is a little bit faster potentially. It uses a lot less mana than Tempest Flurry. It jumps from pack to pack, so it's kind of like a mini Flicker Strike. It can be very, very, very satisfying when you zip, 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 zip all the way up a long line of enemies. But to be honest, you're going to be doing the Herald of Thunder Ice explosion so much that it doesn't happen as much anymore now that I discovered that tech, so it kind of took away a lot of the satisfaction from it. But if you take out the Herald of Thunder and just use Herald of Ice, it procs a lot more often, but it's still... Honestly, you'd probably have to keep Herald of Thunder and drop Herald of Ice, because even though it's Frost Strike, it only converts the physical damage, not the lightning, so you'd have to be using a Fizz Staff for it to work as well. On top of that then, Storm Wave, while Storm Wave here was a wonderful skill that cleared and cleared and cleared and is super safe, it's not good against bosses, and it does not proc the bell, or does not charge the bell, I should say. It definitely will proc it if you're able to drop it, but you're not going to have an extra slot just for Storm Wave to do less damage than Tempest Flurry, and it's a lot less damage. With that said though, it's still pretty decent of a skill. If you're just blasting maps, it can't be beat. It'll nuke pretty much everything around, but you can nuke everything around with Tempest Flurry. I find this to be the best skill. There are other alternatives though. So, charges. We're gonna go back to this Lingering Illusion tech. We're gonna drop Combat Frenzy, put in Perfusion. We're gonna take out Rage and put in Minion Pact. And we're gonna test this out, and we're gonna drop the bell. Which sounds wrong, it sounds like a dirty word. It's definitely not something I was intent on doing, but you know what? I want to show something off. So, gems, Flicker Strike. It's only level 17, surprising. And Slam. There we go, Falling Thunder. These are surprisingly good. I didn't expect them to be as good as they were, but yeah, they hold up. Vaulting Impact, don't do. It's terrible. So, let's put it this way. Falling Thunder, even without power charges, it's fast enough. Here's Vaulting Impact. It's... yeah. In the time that you can do like 2 Vaulting Impacts, you can do like 4 or 5 Falling Thunders. Or multiple rotations of Tempest Flurry. It's just, it's so slow. The +1 second total attack time is terrible. It's not going to be reduced by anything, and because of the +1 second to attack time, like here, 0.81 attacks per second, because I got such crazy attack speed, it feels even worse without it all. It does not hold up. It would be super pretty. I honestly was thinking about using this. I tried it while leveling up, and it got me killed with the giant staying in the air hang time way more often than it was worth, so I just dropped it. Falling Thunder, that's the wrong Falling Thunder if it's only 2 skills. Hold on, where's my other Falling Thunder? I must have got rid of my Falling Thunder. That is unexpected and sad. Here maybe? No? I got rid of my Falling Thunder. Okay, whatever. I don't need much. Just do it with 3 sockets. Show you what Fist of War. Where's that other one? The best one to use for it is this long shot, because it's... you know what, I'm actually just going to leave this the way it is. It doesn't need really anything, so we're going to pop in... oh, it doesn't work with that? Support skills you use yourself. Falling Thunder I use myself. Oh, it cannot generate power charges? What? Support skill to do be much like... support skills cannot generate power charges. I guess it just doesn't like that one. Anyways, because it already uses power charges. Rising Tempest, that's a good one. Let's just toss Rage on there for S and Gs. Drop this in there. And there, I mean... oh, no, that was Bell. Wicked Strike, drop this guy. That can stay. So, Seepage, perfect. Actually, Seepage is a terrible map for it. That's just... you know what? Let's just use it, because it doesn't really matter. Here. So you're gonna charge it first, power charge.
I'm unable.
Ah, crap. Gotta get rid of that dealio.
Speak time.
So we get the extra passive skill point, lovely. You're gonna generate your power charges.
I cannot.
There we go. And then you slam. Even if you don't have it, you can still use it. It's not very good, but it's just so much better with said power charges. Obviously I'm not at all power charge built right now, but even still, it works really well. All you gotta do is dash, attack. As you can see what I said, it feels a little clunky versus just doing that, but you generate your power charges, then you slam. Whenever you hit a boundary like that, it's unfortunately going to blow up on the wall unless you have chaining, but I do not have chaining on here, so... when you use this though, if you come down here with one with the storm, it's like a night and day difference. It's just, I don't really want to use the lingering illusion tack, and if I'm going to be using the charge infusion, I like it better with just dropping the bell with potential. Like, where are you? Potential. What a beautiful skill for the bell. Makes it crit that much more. I really, really like potential. Okay, so now we do Flicker Strike. Basically the same thing. Put some rage on it. This one here, we can do close combat. Let's put Rage Forge on just for SNGs again. But here, this one here is going to feel a lot better if I can remember to put Flicker Strike on the bar. There we go. Ghost guys. So remember, like I said, just keep being mobile. You won't even need to use your charges. But yeah. See? It works pretty dang well if you have it on a mobility skill like this. But a lot of the time with this much damage when you're doing the giant ice explosions, they don't even have time to continue. They just pop, and then you go to the bank, because what else are you gonna do? So yeah, the tech that Snoopy uses, yeah, sorry, this is one thing that's kind of annoying. If you have an attack without moving on your left click one, you can't click on the stairs and move, it'll stop you from moving. Kind of unfortunate. Okay, so if this is to be believed, when I go to the map, far to the right and a little bit down, there should be a citadel around here, because they're the far ones, based on what I've seen in videos. It seems like it's a load of crap, but if I can see a citadel, because they're far away, down to the bottom right, then yay us. So, if I go to this tower, is there going to be a citadel? Definitely isn't one over here. So, let's crush down here to this guy, because I just got this one done, and it was slightly to the right. Looks like right here. It was also probably just pointing to these guys. So yeah, as you can see, the chart, or what is this thing called? Lingering illusion does definitely work. It's just a little bit janky though. Drop Falling Thunder, drop Flicker Strike, put the bell back on, give me all my goodies. And I know I'm not really using much for the bell in maps, but the fact that I like having it on is more important, because I will use this every time the boss comes up, or when I see a mini pack, get rid of that, or when I see a essence mob, even though the essence mob dies in a second even without it, it's just super worth it. And then Fist of War with this guy, drop this guy, keep a little organized, give me my charge infusion back with resonance, not a charge infusion. I don't think I've seen Spider Woods before. For how many maps I've done, I'm surprised I've never seen this before. Or at least don't remember seeing it. No, I got it. Is this just an element resistant one? Yeah, 129% increase ailment threshold. That explains it. I guess I'm just gonna have to be slightly careful on this.
I cannot.
And this is with just the crit damage nodes. Still getting pops, it's just not as consistent as it usually is. like the art in that shield, it's pretty good. There's another one that's like a skeleton on the fence being a lot of bad things done to him, let's just say. And that one is a fantastic art for a shield. Like, they went all out of their way for it, but then the shield itself is just terrible. Oh boy, it's this kind of map. Oh no. I'm definitely gonna miss a rare. Actually use my other abilities here. Half completion, I didn't miss one. That's amazing. And that's another thing that I like about Avatar here, is if you have these element resistant maps, you're still going to charge Avatar pretty quick, just because you're going to shock. You might not get the freezes that are left with you, but you're gonna shock. And so, as long as you pop Avatar, it's gonna basically ignore the fact that their element resistance is going to one-shot them, and it is going to continuously explode them in massive pops of gold. See, like, watch this. Pop, instantly. One hit, one hit, one hit, one hit. 129% ailment resistant map. Or 28%. My bad. Well, that's that map.
Yes.
Apparently Sapphire Ring goes into Call of the Brotherhood, so if I have any other Sapphire Rings here, I should probably pop them. What? Oh, PPH. Hey there, Kitty Pablo. What you doing, buddy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whites. I only got 2, so pop, pop. No dice. Kitty Pablo, you're getting really comfortable. What you doing, buddy? You happy the dogs are gone? We had a... not those dogs, obviously. Be right back. What you barking at, puppers? Oh, somebody's here? What is this? Who's that, babies? Who's that? Who's dad at the van? Looks like they're gonna drive away. Don't know what they're about. They leave a package? Is that why you're barking? Or did they just park out in front and you said you didn't know who they were? They left a package. Interesting. Lots and lots of packages today. And this one is also not for me. Interesting. Whew. It's for the girlfriend. She was busy. Found some good stuff. Watch out, babies. Watch out. Watch out. Oh boy. There we go. There we go. Okay, so what do I have done on my list here? Now I should probably show why Storm Charged. I've been being requested why I don't have Storm Charged Anointed with a 40% increased elemental damage versus Overwhelming Strike. So, there you go, babies. 20% crit damage, essentially, versus 40% elemental damage. So, oh baby, don't bring me shoes. Don't bring me shoes, Beverly. Here's Beverly, being a cutie. Hey Beb, say hi to the camera. High five. High five. Good girl. That's my baby girl. Baby girl, give me a kiss. Come on. Good girl. Thank you, baby. Alrighty. You've been good, you've been sweet. I'll go get you something nice. Oof. Jeez, girl, don't stop. Gonna make me fall over. That's right, here. Oh yeah, you're licking those lips. You know what this is. It's for Uno Dos. Here you go, Uno. Uno Dos. There you go. And Beverly, that's for you. There you go. Good girls. Good puppies. Good puppies. Did you try to scare the kitty away when the package came by? Were you just jealous of the attention he was getting on my lap? Yeah, I know, it's terrible. It's terrible when you don't get all the attention. Okay, so 40% elemental damage versus 20% crit damage. So if it was even remotely equivalent, you'd see pretty big damage swings. So we're just going to do a simple check with my magic find rings here. And so we know, based on the check that we did with Wildstorm, that, and also with the Pillar of Eternity staff, that does increase elemental damage with attacks, that the crit damage, 36%, scales harder. And so, math-wise, it's pretty similar, but the crit damage scaled way, way, way higher. So how we're going to do this is we're going to check it against one single 15% critical damage node. So what's a good way to test this? Let's test it without losing any damage. So we're going to take off this keystone, take off this keystone. We're going to take off... Wow, most of my stuff is damage. Come on, right here. This guy here. So my damage didn't go down at all. My shield is much, much less. I got the life though to kind of counteract it, but now I'm vulnerable to chaos damage. But so anyways, 40% elemental damage. I'm going to allot these for 36%. And it brought me from 308,000 to 322,000. 36%. Pretty close to 40. 15%, however, is a lot less than 20. 316,000. I don't remember what the other number was. 322,000. So, in this case, it seems 36% elemental damage is actually better than 15% critical damage, which is surprising to see, considering the other tests we did. It is very possible that Storm Charged is better for anointing than Overwhelming Strike, because base math shows this number go bigger. It's a lot closer to the full 40%. Where's a good way to do 20 flat critical damage? You know what? I'm not seeing a way to do 20 flat critical damage, but there's another test we should do here with my bossing rings on, so when you have much, much higher damage here. So right now we're at 469,000. You take these three off, you drop to 455, where I should be, put one on, 467,000. So again, it shows, considering this is much less of a potential, this is 75% of the way there, and 36 to 40, quick math, it's probably around 80 something. Wherever my calculator is, 36 divided by 40 is 90% of the way there. So when you get bigger damage numbers, the critical damage still scales higher than what the very simple elemental damage would scale. So the times when you actually need the damage for me is when I'm bossing, not when I'm mapping. It is still better to go Overwhelming Strike over Storm Charge, but surprisingly, it was a lot closer than I expected it to be. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop the stream for a little bit. Looks like the girlfriend is wanting to talk to me. She is out of town right now, and she deserves my attention. Talk to you guys later.